President Donald Trump has made a direct appeal to one of America's closest allies in Asia for greater involvement in the ongoing conflict with Iran. But Japan has drawn a careful line, declining to commit combat forces or assets that could pull it deeper into the fighting. The request came during a high-stakes White House meeting earlier this month between President Trump and Japanese Prime Minister Sanai Takaichi. As the U.S.-led campaign against Iran entered its third week, Trump pressed Tokyo to help secure the Strait of Hormuz, the narrow waterway through which roughly one-fifth of the world's oil supply normally flows. Iran has disrupted shipping there, driving up global energy prices and threatening economies that depend heavily on those routes. Japan, which imports more than 90% of its oil through the strait, has a clear stake in keeping those lanes open. Yet Prime Minister Takaichi's government has so far stopped short of sending naval vessels or other direct military support. Japanese officials have spoken of taking necessary measures to protect their own shipping interests, but they have emphasized that no final decisions have been made on joining any multinational escort operation. Japan's post-war constitution, with its strict limits on the use of force abroad, continues to shape these cautious calculations. This is not the first time the Trump administration has sought broader allied contributions. The president has publicly stated he approached roughly 7 countries, including Japan, about contributing warships to police the strait. Similar requests went to Australia, South Korea, and several European nations. Responses have been limited. While some allies have expressed general support for safe navigation and issued joint statements, few have offered concrete military commitments. Trump has voiced frustration, noting that the United States has long provided security guarantees in the region and elsewhere, yet allied backing has not always matched expectations. The broader context is a fast-moving conflict that began with intense U.S. and partner strikes aimed at degrading Iran's military capabilities. American officials report significant damage to Iranian naval assets, air defenses, and leadership targets. President Trump has repeatedly described the operation as advancing ahead of schedule and has downplayed the need for extensive outside help, at times stating the U.S. does not actually require assistance from Japan or others. At the same time, he has argued it would be appropriate for nations that benefit from stable energy flows to contribute more directly. During the Oval Office meeting, the conversation took an unexpected turn when a Japanese reporter asked why allies like Japan were not given advance notice of the initial strikes on Iran. President Trump responded by stressing the importance of operational surprise, then added a pointed historical reference to Pearl Harbor, noting that Japan itself understands the value of catching an adversary off guard. The remark drew attention but did not appear to derail the diplomatic exchange. The two leaders also discussed trade, investment, and long-standing defense cooperation, including the thousands of U.S. troops and advanced aircraft stationed in Japan to deter threats in the Indo-Pacific. For Japan, the situation presents a delicate balancing act. Tokyo maintains a strong alliance with Washington, purchasing significant American military equipment and hosting U.S. forces that include fighter jet squadrons. At the same time, direct participation in combat operations far from home raises constitutional, political, and strategic questions, especially with ongoing concerns closer to home involving China and North Korea. Prime Minister Takaichi has spoken of the need for calm and stable energy supplies while stopping short of promising warships or combat aircraft for the Hormuz mission. This episode highlights larger questions about burden sharing among allies during a period of heightened global tension. The United States has shouldered the primary military effort against Iran, including recent reports of an American fighter jet sustaining damage in operations over the region. Yet sustaining long-term pressure while keeping vital sea lanes open tests the limits of any single nation's resources and political will. As the situation in the strait evolves, markets continue to watch closely for any signs of resumed safe passage for oil tankers. Japan has indicated it is exploring options to protect its interests, potentially including diplomatic efforts and coordination with other nations. Whether that leads to more tangible support remains to be seen. What stands out in all of this is the enduring complexity of international alliances. Close partners can share strategic goals without always aligning perfectly on tactics or levels of involvement. President Trump's direct style has brought these differences into sharper focus. For now, Japan appears committed to protecting its economic lifelines while respecting the boundaries that have defined its security policy for decades. The coming days and weeks will reveal whether diplomatic pressure and shared economic interests can bridge those gaps, or whether the United States will continue largely on its own to shape the outcome in the waters off Iran. In a world where energy security touches every economy, few nations can afford to ignore the stakes, yet fewer still seem eager to expand their direct role in the conflict.